So we always say you've got to give your boss the flick and buy a Jim's franchise, but it's not every day that one of your own staff members does that to you. So we've got Greg, who's part of our media team and does all the great video work and editing that you see online. And Greg's basically decided to give us the flick and buy a Jim's franchise. So just want to talk about which franchise you're buying, Greg, and why you're buying it.
Yep, so I'm going to be going with the Mowing franchise. And the main reason is money. I mean, it's sort of seeing all these franchisees talk about how much they're making, doing all these interviews and stuff, that's always a really big incentive. It's also just seeing the system for what it is. So from the inside, going to the training, filming all the sessions and whatnot, like it's sort of, yeah, it's built to make the franchisee succeed. And that is, yeah, a really good incentive.
Yeah, so we'll make it clear. So Greg's job is to come out with myself and we go and we talk to franchisees and interview them, and all they talk about is how much money they're making. I should have done it years ago. And I can imagine from your position, just behind the camera and you're hearing how much money they're making, going, geez, why aren't I doing that? So it's good on you for taking the action and doing it. It's not good for us that we're losing a good staff member, but I'm really happy for you to do it. But in regards to trial days as well, so you have gone on some trial days, and how have you sussed out the whole Jim's Mowing franchise?
Yeah, so I've been on 3 trial days so far, and every time it's just sort of, again, you sort of like, you hear the stories from someone who's actually been on the road. He's been there for 4 years, so sort of like he knows how it all works. He's seen it all, and sort of getting that feedback from somebody who's not on the national side, so is actually like, you know, is in the position which I'm trying to get into. It's really good seeing him be completely honest about everything, and again, it just sort of comes up as a really big positive.
So what we're going to do is, this is day 1 of training, and we're going to do a whole week of Greg's journey. So Greg is doing the Jim's Mowing training as well. So we have the 3-day generic training, which we're going to do a summary with, and then we're also going to go and extend it for the Jim's Mowing training, which ends on the Saturday. So we're going to check in with you each day, Greg, to give a whole full real account of the training week and all your thoughts about it, so that people can get a really good inside look into training. So we're not happy that you're leaving, but we're very happy that you're going to be running your own business. We're really happy for you, mate.
Thank you. Day 1 of training, we had Jim come up and speak first. He goes over his ethos and how he runs his business and how he became so successful. And it is really good to hear those guidelines. His focus on customer service and how that is the priority, as well as the franchisees and our well-being. It's great to see that he's a real person, that he cares about the franchisees. He gives us his phone number, his email address, and that's something which I feel a lot of bigger companies would never do. And he actually encourages us to contact him, so that is a really good start. Next we had Sam Robertson, who gave us quite a few sessions. One that really stuck out to me was the local area marketing. That's what you can do on the ground of your business. Letter drops, by talking to people, networking, B&I groups, things like that. And what really resonated with me was he has a 10-point plan which he talked about, which basically, one of my worries in my business is that I'm not buying a split, so I don't have customers from the go. So I've got to start from the bottom. I've got to build up my database relying on leads. And those first few weeks where there's like, I'm not going to have a guarantee of getting leads on day 1, yeah, that worried me a little bit. And it's sort of, you get a certain amount of points for doing a certain amount of things, in terms of if you go to 3 businesses within your territory and just introduce yourself and say, hi, I'm Greg from Jim's Mowing, and doing that kind of thing, building that rapport, you get 2 points. Like a letterbox drop is 1 point. And it's sort of like the whole list of different tasks that you can complete that is working towards your business. And that is something which I really, really liked the sound of, because you sort of worry about just sort of sitting on the couch and waiting for the phone to ring. Whereas this is a way that you can be proactive and sort of measure that. So that's something which, yeah, I really, really got out of that training session. And yeah, at the end of day 1, I'm feeling very inspired. I'm very looking forward to seeing what's more.
The question for Mike, please, Mike, your playing man.
Okay, day 2 of the generic training, and again, I'm walking out feeling really, really confident. There were a lot of speakers this time. We had Anush first, who went over Jim's Jobs, which is an app that we can use to schedule clients, understand which clients we've got what day, do invoices, things like that. It is a really, really handy tool, and he just goes over the basics of how it works. Then we had John Wilds do the OH&S, which is never going to be a huge amount of fun, but it is a complete necessity as a business owner to be aware of your obligations and that side of things, which is something that I'm happy that we were able to do. The next up was Dan Cahill, who did Building Your Business, which was a really, really good session. He's so passionate about his business, how he's gotten from point A to point B, being in debt, in a hard place, to now one of the most successful franchisees and a franchisor within Jim's group. And it is very inspiring to hear him tell his story about how he got there and what we can do in our own businesses to help put us on that track as well. So that was a really good one. We also had Matthew Watts, who gave us a few sessions. One that really stuck out to me was the resilience in business, which, yeah, you need to have a bit of a thick skin when you're first starting out in particular, but just to sort of be able to handle rejection, handle people turning you away, handle when things go wrong within the business, because it will. It's one of those things that with a business you are very volatile, and particularly when you're beginning. And having those tactics and the ways that you can adapt, understanding support that you've got, particularly within the Jim's group, that was the type of thing which he went into and I really got out of those sessions. And finally was Joel going over the social media stuff, and with no bias at all. I definitely appreciate that side of things. The strength of social media is just, it's ridiculous. The amount that it can grow your business, and he handles the session very well in that a lot of people have no interest in doing it. A lot of the people who are joining up as franchisees are allergic to computers. So he lays it out in a very easy to understand manner, while also people who are a little bit more like, yes, what can I do? What are the applications that I can be using? What are the things that I can do? He lets you know all the tips and tricks, shows you examples of what's worked, what hasn't, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's a good day overall. I've really appreciated it, and it's sort of bring on day 3. Day 3, which is the final day of generic training. And again, I feel like I've gotten a lot out of it. First up was Nicole Wood, who talked about franchisee business operations, which she's a very, very good speaker. Talks from experience, which is one of the things which I'm really getting from a lot of the trainers, is that they are ex-franchisees, current franchisors, people who've been on the ground and seen how things work and have fallen in their own ways and can sort of tell you what they've done and how to avoid that, what they've done right and how to replicate that kind of thing. And yeah, that's something which Nicole was really, really good with. So next up was Donna Shearer, going over the bookkeeping and that side of things, which was very, very important. It's definitely good to understand your obligations in terms of GST, your BAS, all of that kind of thing, what you need to be doing, when you need to be doing it. It is a general overview, but I feel like she goes into all the important parts where, like, if you're going to employ somebody, like, make sure you talk to someone first. Make sure you don't mess things up from that point of view, because you can get into trouble. And she sort of warns you of all of those types of pitfalls, which is huge. Then we had Steph talking about Gyms Online, which is the system that we use to sort of manage your leads, manage where your territory, that kind of thing, like where you're taking things and all of that kind of stuff, your clients. And she's really, really good. Goes over everything, goes through each of the tabs and what they mean, what they do, what the consequences of ticking which boxes are. And it's one of those things which we as franchisees absolutely need to know, and she presented it very well. We also had someone, Mo, who is a franchisee who's only been working for 6 months and has been absolutely killing it, and it is really, really good. He was only talking for about 15 minutes, but again, he's just got a huge amount of energy, a huge amount of enthusiasm for what he's doing. It is great to see those people who are succeeding, and again, have him talk to us about how he's gone about it, and what we can do to try and do the same things. And last up was Jim again, going over his income, like how to increase your income and that kind of thing, which is really, really good to hear from the CEO, and sort of just had a decent bit of question time where we could ask him anything that we had on our minds about anything at all, and just sort of really solidifies his availability to us and how he prioritises our well-being and success as franchisees. It's something which is really, really important to him, and that is very clear from the way that he runs all of these training sessions. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good and looking forward to doing the mowing training now.
Well, Greg came in, how long ago, 3 months, 5 months?
About 5, I think.
5 months back to do the video. He's done a great job. Normally we don't like staff leaving, but for somebody who actually wants to go out and get a mowing franchise, I think that's a pretty good idea, really. Yeah. Certainly from the point of view of ambition and success, and we need good people. We've got so much work. Yeah. So it's good to see.
So Greg, what prompted the change for you?
Well, doing all the videos that we're doing, I sort of get to interview all these franchisees who are talking about how great it is, how good their lives are, how much money they're making, and it's just sort of, yeah, I kind of sold myself by doing the videos.
Yeah, we can't compete financially, can we?
No, exactly.
We have to pay you an awful lot more to be able to...
Yep, for sure.
To match what a franchisee can make. It's actually quite common. People who get exposed to us for a period of time, they see the income. People don't realise that. People have this idea that, you know, you're out there, you're a gardener or you're a cleaner, you're making $30 an hour, maybe $35 an hour. They don't really understand that we start at $60 an hour, recommendations, but people can make double that. So they're extraordinarily good businesses, and there's plenty of work. With hundreds of thousands of unserviced leads across most divisions, so it is attractive. I don't like to lose good people, but in a sense we're not losing Greg, we're just putting a different hat on him.
That's it.
take the peaked hat off and put the floppy one on.
Yep,
From your experience, how many trial days did you do, just for people know about the trial days?
I actually did 3 trial days. I really liked being out and actually doing it. It's sort of like I finished work after, I did one which was 12 hours. And at the end, I felt like I had more energy, even though I'd been like doing physical work. I don't know, I was just like, I loved it. So that was another aspect that really sold me on this is the right move for me.
I have to say, you'll probably shrink a little bit when this thing starts.
Yep, absolutely, 100%.
Just very summary real quickly, how do you found the 3 days of training? Obviously you know what goes on in here, but to actually sit through what's it been like?
Yeah, it's been really, really good. It's a completely different perspective because I've filmed it a few times, but I'm sort of looking at it from the point of view like what's going to do well on social media, what's going to sell, whereas now I'm doing what's going to help me in my business and like, you know, what's going to work, like what tips and tricks can I get out of it. And it's sort of, yeah, it's a different way of looking at it, and I feel like I've gotten a ton out of it that I didn't get when I was filming it, so yeah.
Now Jim, this has been a pretty big month for Jim. We've had 2 trainings I think, so we've had 87 I think, and maybe 8, is it 70 or something earlier in the month, so more than 160 I'd say new Jim franchisees in 1 month coming through.
Yeah, we're doing very well. Last time I checked we were at 4820. I thought we might hit 5,000 by the end of the year, probably early next year, but we're doing extraordinarily well. A lot of buzz of interest. What's really surprising is that it's actually a time when we should not be doing well at all because the labour market's so tight. There are good paying jobs. People are begging for workers, and yet we're still attracting people in unprecedented numbers.
Why do you think that is?
I think we've got some pretty good social media. We've got a good story to tell. The fact of the matter is, what I'd say to anybody is, if you're interested in a franchise, any franchise, ring current franchisees, current and past franchisees, and ask them, how's it going? Spend some time, do some proper investigation. We actually know that if people do that, they more often than not will end up buying because it is genuinely a good deal.
I think Greg will show the picture on training, but obviously get worded up a lot by people at the end, so just to be clear again for people, they can come and ask you, get that good gentleman at the end who asks you 10 questions or so, and it's obviously really important for you to meet everyone face to face.
Yeah, I like to. I try to have at least a brief conversation with every trainee during training at least once. And not because I remember everybody, sometimes I do, but it's because if they have an issue or a problem down the track a bit, they'll think, I can contact Jim, he's not unapproachable. And then they email me about something and I say, wow, I'm glad you asked me that. This is what we can do. This is how we can help you. I can give you this, or this advice, or that's something we need to change in the system. It's actually enormously helpful if people do contact me. The biggest problem I have is they just don't do it often enough or fast enough.